Thank you to MagmaCube for their support on Patreon. Howdy, folks, and welcome back to the freaking smoke room again. I am really just hammering away at this one, trying to catch up on all the updates I've missed. I'm noticing a little detail on these pants. Don't ask why I'm focusing on the pants right now. It's how they do tails in this universe. See, in some universes, they just sort of do a flap for a tail. Some universes, the tail goes over the pants. In this universe, they have invented a tail button in the pants. There's like a tail buckle or something. It seems to be like a whole ass belt that goes around the pants, that goes over the button. And so yeah, that's a little interesting. It's cool that they have that little detail there. I don't know, it's just a little nice. Where's my fucking mouse? Why is everything failing me right now? Alright, we caught up with Cliff, we caught up with William. Yes, I did them out of order according to when they were released. Whoop-de-ding, I really don't care. Eventually this game will be released in full and someone will play this game and they're not gonna know which update came out which way. So, what? Are they just gonna... Oh, they're just gonna be expected to play it in a specific order? No. I'll play it whatever. So, I don't know which update came out first, the Nick one or the Murdoch one, but right now I want to play the Murdoch one. So last we left off with Murdoch, we got the heartbreaking, soul-crushing, fucking world-rocking announcement that he has been fucking being used and abused by his wife's husband-to-be, who has also been a customer at the Hip for Sam, basically as a under-the-table marriage incentive. So it's been very bad environment. Murdoch has a long history in this family of just being treated like fucking shit. Like, he's just expected to do what he's supposed to do and not being rewarded in any way, shape, or form. He's been chattel for his fucking family, and now he's being used for his body by his soon-to-be brother-in-law in order to get his sister a husband that is literally cheating on her as an arrangement for a loveless marriage. And wow, literally, if it came out that this was happening, he could be murdered for it. Like, Jesus, this is a shitstorm wrapped in an enigma. Say what you mean. I heard the sheriff talking about it in his office after the shoot with his friend, the Big Badger. Oh, the Big Badger, that'd be Nick. He said you were walking around with a head injury. Oh, we got a flipped fucking sprite. He looked behind his shoulder. About a month ago. Coming from the mines. So that's why I haven't seen Nikolai come around the hip yet. I guess I wouldn't either. Oh, God. He's confronting us about the fucking... And yeah, that's another thing that kind of gets glossed over a little bit around this time and some of the other routes. The fucking murder we're on the fucking hook for. Well, yeah, here we go. So what? And you talk about it like you've been there. And I used to work there. Recently. And just about how many people heard them talking about that, you think? He sighs and shakes his head. I don't know. I don't think it was more than the three of us. Though I wasn't exactly supposed to be listening. His deputy might know as well, but I can't be sure. So what will you do now? Whatever you need me to do, I suppose. I stare at him for a while. I laugh. Probably not the reaction that you'd be expecting, nor one that would be at all comforting in this moment. Whatever I need, huh? You and the sheriff and the man who I thought was my best friend are burning the midnight oil to rush me to the gallows, and you're gonna ask me what I need. That a confession, Sam? No. Feel my throat tighten. Maybe. His expression is impossible to read now. He's saying all sorts of crazy things, making me confused. I'm not admitting to anything. And this is not exactly a soundproof room, as you can see from the siding on the walls back there. This is a dressing room in a public fucking building. But let's say, what if that was a confession? What then? He swallowed his spit. Well, then I'd think you did it. And then what? What next? Fox shrugged. Nothing. Why nothing? Why whatever I need? That don't make any damn sense. Because a noose isn't justice. What? Rings his paws and curls his lips. I've seen plenty of murderers walk free with the right excuse, or just by happening to know the right people. So I meant what I said. A noose isn't justice. It's just a long tether to a dark, heavy weight. A weight that all people have. A weight we want to cut loose or soar away from. Higher, free, leaving all the ugliness of the earth behind us on the floor in a heap for the ants to find. Except we never leave it behind, Sam. We just take it with us. Nobody can shake off the bugs eating them up every time a platform falls. I shake my head. Maybe sometimes people just want relief. They just want relief from... I stutter over my words. Relief from the fear that took their lives from them. Now, that's not so crazy, is it? When that's the case, maybe not. How many people are calling for an execution knew that miner, though? Nick always did tell me he wasn't well liked. I don't know. I do. It's not fear in the air I can smell. It's excitement. Excitement to drop that platform and hear that twang. Sort of like a building tension. Like a package bursting at the seams. And so what? Where are you going with this? Where am I going with this? I want to help you. Help me? I laugh. Help me? The how is the first question. Now, what exactly can you do? You're trapped as much as me. The why is the second question. Why do you want to help me? What's really in it for you? He let out a squeaky whine. Is it because I'm easy to look at? Yes. Is it because I make you feel good? Yes. But you don't know me. And I never will if you're dead. Stop to catch my breath. Since the first time I found out about you, I was a bit jealous. Jealous? Of me? Are you stupid? Well, maybe. Thought you had a life I thought you had a life that I wanted. The nightlife. The glamorous parties, using your own body to give and get pleasure. People paying money to love you when I couldn't even get that for free, had my head spinning. So yeah, for a few years I wanted to be you. Getting by on whatever intimacy I could find at bars and dances. I shake my head. Well, I'm sorry that you had it all wrong. But listen, I should be fine. I need you to forget everything you think you know. You know full well that this one remembers all sorts of things. And never, ever share it. And you know he talks too much. You talk too much to Botchamania. Okay. I'll sell you out for the smallest scrap of love. I promise I'll never bring this up again. All they have to do is spread their legs. Because that's all anybody needs to buy his soul. So give him the greatest love he'll ever know. Give him the love that will close his eyes forever. What the fuck does that mean? You're gonna love him to death? Good. He'll probably do it for you himself if you ask him to. What the fuck? Shut the hell up! Murdoch recoiled away from me. His eyes were wide and red. He looked a lot like his little brother right now. The one from the photograph at his house. A small, scared thing. I said I promise I won't say anything. Wasn't you. It was that voice again. It's a crazy thing to tell somebody, but somehow he looks relieved. I don't remember this mouthing. Is there something the matter back there? Right as rain. Son of a bitch just poking fun of how stupid I look in formal wear. Ain't that right? There's too much of the brute to cover. I know he's trying to sound cheeky, but the delivery of the statement is flat. Do not hesitate to call for assistance. His voice sounds tense. He doesn't want us back here much longer. Murdoch picks up on that too. Why don't we do what we came back here to do? And get dressed for the parts we are meant to play. He buttons each button and buckles each clasp as he stares into the mirror, watching out of the corner of his eye, quite attentively. Then he spins around. Hey, look at... God, he looks like he hates that. How do I look? Just fine or just fine? Well, out of these options, let's go with just fucking fine. I think you look just fine. Thank you. And there's one thing I've been told I always do well, it's clean up nicely. They weren't lying. You look good too. You always think I look good. You pinned me again. Well, only twice. Factually speaking. You know, keeping count. I just meant that it's easy. He hums. Then maybe I should make it harder. He chuckles. But seriously, In the short time I've known you, I've only dragged you into tedious obligations and miserable revelations. So let me share something a little fun I learned about recently. I'm listening. You know that weightless feeling that people get when they drift into deep water? Buoyancy, yeah? My youngest sister tells me being in space is supposed to be a lot like that. Except it's everywhere. All the time. All the time. And you don't even have to get wet. It's like you're swimming in nothing. It's impossible to feel heavy. You can do a backflip without trying. Or you can jump into the air without ever falling back down. That's impossible. I know it sounds impossible, but I promise it's all true. I guess I'll just have to go into space and find out for myself. Smoke Room, episode 53, Sam travels to Mars, I guess so. Do you think that'll ever be possible? I don't know. I sometimes hear we're getting pretty close. But if it were possible, would you ever be brave enough to go? Sure. Even if it meant the chance of you burning to a crisp in the Earth's atmosphere? I'd go pretty much anywhere if it meant getting away from here. What about you? Well, like I told you once before, I used to travel to a lot of places when I was little. But nobody's ever asked me that as an adult. Not even your roommate? No. Keeps bragging about all the places he'll go and the people he'll see once he saves up the money to leave. But he has family all over the place. Mine is here. What if you could go to outer space? Well, what if I could? Would you go? I'm afraid that I'd find it a very lonely place. Despite what my favorite books and picture shows suggest, there's probably not much to find there. It's likely just a long, winding landscape of endless rocks and dust. And nobody there to talk to. Sounds like here. At least there's music here. But you could fly there. I'd probably give up my ability to walk if I had to choose between that and people to talk to. I can't relate. I'm starting to wish you could. Do you really mean that? Oh yeah, my legs are too handy. Is that so? Sure is. 'Cause you don't have to walk if I'm the one pinning you. He gives me an absurd expression and breaks out into laughter. The example was extreme, that's fair. Can I offer any assistance? Both jump from the attendants, shout over the other side of the curtained wall. Almost finished. The fits are nearly perfect. Murdoch lowers his voice. Considering I've bought clothes here for my entire life, I hope they know my size by now. Does the size fit me? Mostly. The pants could use a bit of hemming. Well, I don't want to stay here much longer. A friend could hem these for me. The people here do it for you if you ask. Nah, I don't care too much for the mood of this place. Why don't you get the changes you need and I'll go get Jim? If you must. I feel a little bad leaving Murdoch after learning all of that. But I have questions for his future brother-in-law. Are we going to interrogate him? Oh, Lord. And I ain't too keen to have Murdoch see what I'm like if I'm going to get awful angry. And there they are with all the people in this picture, and they made the effort to add, little animal details. But they still blurred it so that the edits aren't too obvious. I appreciate this. I remember Jim mentioned he'd be at the pawn shop. I know where that is. All too well, in fact. Swap so many coins and tickets and keepsakes for those damn double eagles. The bell on the door jingles when I walk through. I don't see anybody at the cash register, but I do see the black and white tail of the marbled fox as he stoops over a glass display case. Didn't seem too bothered or preoccupied with the notion that somebody just entered the store. Fantasize about just smashing his head into the case for a moment. The thing holding me back most is all the property damage. Finished up the suit fittings. He didn't look up, still focused on the casing. Bit quick for fitting. There wasn't much work to be done. Light comes out a bit quickly, and Jim quirks an eyebrow. Don't be so hasty. You're a bit wider and taller than most folks in town. He looked me up and down. Or out of town. You'd look smart with the right fit. Might come in handy for somebody in your position, even after the ceremony. I do catch his drift. You'd like the view, so to speak? I do. Even if I have a bad habit of ruining them. This one does like making his messes. Good. Stay comfortable, Jim. I look down on the display case and see a large variety of rings in the display case. You seem like you're in a bit of a mess yourself. What are you hunting? You didn't strike me as the nosy type. I smile. Oh, I'm very nosy. Don't bother telling me if it's boring, though. He smiles back. I'm afraid it is. A big white polar bear comes lumbering out from behind the back. I've talked to him plenty, but never really got around to asking his name. He's all business.
Sorry, kid. No diamonds in back in the size you want.
Jim cursed under his breath. Of course there aren't. Then what do you have?
Here's the ones that'll fit in the inlay. Flint, citrine.
He takes a step forward, stooping over the boxes and inspecting them with his eyes. The cuts could be better, but I'll take that one. The third citrine from the left.
It won't cost you that much.
Of course it won't. We're practically bathing in citrine. He sighs deeply. It will match my fiancée's eyes and remind her of home. That should work, I think.
I'll get it ready then.
The polar bear lumbers to the back of the store again. Good. Holly's ring, huh? Clearly. Gonna get a bit close for something less than a week away, you think? He shrugs. The only thing that matters is that it doesn't look cheap. It's just a token. Of your marriage. Traditionally speaking. Though I don't care a whit for tradition. True enough. I lower my voice. I suppose it's not very traditional to break in your fiancé's brother. His eyes widen and he looks around. Then he laughs as he speaks. Best not to discuss any dalliances here. Be they true or flights of fancy. It's only us here. We're no strangers to sharing secrets. You could say we have a kinship of sorts. He looks a little pale, looking around. Oh, do we? Well, I could get on my knees and beg you to agree. Now he's taking a deep breath. But of course, what I'm really talking about is that I've plowed him too. Ah! Jim's scowl turns into a smirk. Well, what can I say? The whole family seems to love me. Though I suppose the brother does go the extra mile when he needs an itch scratched. He sure is talking about this casually. Though I have to say, he should probably pace himself. Like it's not a big deal? He asks quite a bit. Oh, does he? I have to wonder if that's true. Though from his tone and sheer flippancy of his statements, I'm inclined to believe him. I guess I don't really know what Jim knows. Considering the precariousness of the whole situation, I suppose it's possible Jim doesn't know. Am I really the only one Murdoch has ever told about this situation? It's possible he could have told Ralph. No, it isn't. He'd blow it up. I don't feel like I need to knock Jim's teeth out anymore, but I'm still angry. And I'm not sure who I should direct it at. The doorbell rings again and I look to see who enters next. Is everybody finished up here? Jim pulls out a silver pocket watch and flicks open the clasp. As much as I'd like to be, for now. My work requires me in 15 minutes. Oh, does it? Then I suppose we should be on our way as well. Back to the store for us, Sam. Right. He gives us a stiff nod. Till next time, gentlemen. I follow Murdoch as he heads to the doorway. Jim is looking at his backside with a sideways glance, then turns back to the jewelry case. Telling by how busy things are getting outside, I can guess it's close to noon. You didn't say anything to make him uncomfortable, did you, Sam? Not as uncomfortable as I would have liked to, no. You don't strike me as somebody easy to make uncomfortable. He puts his arm in front of me to stop me from walking as a loud and noisy wagon passes us by. Are you dodging my question? I feel my left whiskers twitch. I did say some things. Mostly just that I know he's having a go at you. But don't worry. It rolled right off him. And what did that accomplish? Not much, I don't think. But I saw it put some fear in him. Sometimes men need a little fear when they take things too lightly. And sometimes a little fear can make things worse. I rub my nose. Well, sorry if it does. You're welcome if it doesn't. Well, I'm sure he was bound to ask you if you knew eventually. Let's not linger on it. I don't think I should mention about the ring. The fact that he was buying it as late as he was isn't a comforting sign. I don't think Murdoch needs anything else to feel anxious about. By the time we got back to the store, we weren't surprised to see a sign on the front door. We were surprised, sorry. Temporarily closed. Come back in an hour. Well, that don't seem normal. It isn't. Bar doesn't close at lunchtime, typically. Pulls a key from his pocket and fiddles with the lock. The cool air in the dark store is a nice reprieve from the heat. As we walk close to the cash register, I expect to hear Ralph in the back room cursing while he works. And I certainly do. But I also hear another voice. A familiar voice. You sure you haven't seen him? Him? Who's him? The voice inside my head is laughing. Oh, God. Not today, Sheriff. You might find him if you check north of Lake Emma, like we told you to.
Don't get saucy with me. We did check the lake. There was nothing down there aside from a defunct mining tunnel. Try checking the bottom of it. I guarantee you'll find somebody. Maybe more. My deputy's a damn otter. If there's something down there, he's surely seen it. With eyes as wide apart as his, I could probably mow down half of downtown in front of him and he'd miss it. Not one bit of that now. Focus. Tell me where you think his routine would take him on a typical day like this.
There's an edge to his tone. The slowed slur in his speech from a few nights ago is gone. Will's back to the old Will I know, the one who picks out a single word from a sentence and chases it all the way to its hiding place in your thoughts. I don't like the sound of this conversation. Neither does Murdoch by the look on his face. His expression tells me that I should hide, and I agree with it. And I'd be able to follow through with his plan if it wasn't for the man I just ran into. Murdoch's father.
Oh, there he is. Out here, Sheriff Adler. He's here, he's here.
Wow, that's... Oh. There was something sharp and shrill in the man's voice that I can now hear that I didn't before. A shaky kind of gleefulness that you might expect to hear from a man who had misplaced a blackmail of a rival, but just found it beneath his couch cushions. So, he's here! He's here! Such a quick and sudden burst of energy from an otherwise aloof old man, it takes me off guard. Oh, Christ. When we're not on William's route and he shows up, I just get uncomfortable. The door to the pharmacy opens and William walks out with a surprised look on his face.
That was quick. Good. Now I don't have to chase you down.
He looks more put together than how he looked a couple of nights ago, but the bags under his eyes are much worse. Sure, Sheriff. The fur on the back of my neck is prickling. What do you need?
Just your cooperation.
He turned to Mr. Burns. Oh, jeez. The sprite work has been getting more and more specific.
Is there a back room I could use that isn't stinking up the air with chemicals? I feel like I'm practically swimming on the fumes.
Of course.
The older fox opened his mouth like he was about to say something, and then closed it again, almost like he had confused himself. I can show you where that is.
Right, he can do that.
He was stroking his chin and then jerked his head toward the hallway. He then glared at Murdoch.
Good, we can reopen before we lose all of the luncheon crowd. Handle this.
Of course. The room isn't far. He walks me and the sheriff down that narrow hall. It'd be stupid as hell to make a run for it now. I still think about it.
Right then. I have a few points to cover. I would have asked sooner, but my hands were tied.
Ask away.
Okay.
Sure, Sheriff.
What were you up to about a month ago when you received that head injury walking back from the mines?
Well, let's see how we get out of this one. Oh, God. That was a while ago, Will.
Hard to forget an assault, though, ain't it?
It was literally... yeah. He had a head injury, no? Me and Will both look at Murdoch. De facto lawyer, help me, please.
You a doctor all of a sudden, Fox?
Well, no, but I've had a concussion before.
Since when?
Since I was a teenager. It was one of the worst days of my life, and I don't remember most of it. Even the parts I was probably awake for.
Well, he was well enough to walk all the way home.
Nick helped me back, actually.
I know.
He says the line with confidence, but now he doesn't look so sure of what he's looking for.
He's the one who told me about this.
He said something about attacking me for my work, but it's still a bit fuzzy.
Are you saying Nick saw who attacked you?
Maybe. I feel a pang of guilt. This puts the suspicion more on Nick than on myself. Though I can't feel that bad about it if he told Will before talking to me about it again. I can't be sure, though.
You don't remember anything about who attacked you?
Well, I know it was from behind, because it was. And I couldn't see his face, because he snuffed out the light.
But you say it was a he.
There's an edge to his tone. Unless James is hiring women to work in the mines.
And why were you in the mines?
Must have been seeing a client.
Just a client?
Oh, just a client?
They come
and go, and I can't remember them all. Will's eyes flick to Murdoch when I say client, and I catch some hint of concern, but Murdoch nods. Will sighs. Though I might have been visiting Nick. Can't really say. Wish I could. Will pulls out a notebook from his pocket and scrawls a few things down. I love the notebook, but we don't get to see it because we're not on his route. He's drawing up something fucking adorable.
Well, that about sums things up on my end.
And
what?
Why are you here in the first place? You sounded pretty urgent.
Mr. Burns asked me over.
He did?
Yes, indeedy.
Indeedy?
Said staff around the store were acting peculiar. Then you were one of the folks that he name-dropped. And then I remembered we had unfinished business to take care of.
Fuck's sake, Will.
Don't you click your sandpaper tongue at me.
Sandpaper?
I'm still mostly in the dark with respect to all the damn incidents occurring as of late. Either of you want to fill me in on anything or what?
I developed the photos for you, but over half of them have been corrupted. Over half? I thought I corrupted just the one.
Well, that's just peaches.
But we did see what looked like somebody assaulting and dumping a body down by the lake.
I know. I told you that we looked.
So if there's nothing there, then either the bodies are well hidden, or the lake is carrying them away.
If there's bodies there at all, sure.
I assure you that there's certainly somebody down there if you know how to look for it.
Bodies that get swept away tend to float, so something might come up. But if we sweep the shoreline for months and there's still a killer out there, then I'd rather our efforts were spent on stopping him before he makes another corpse.
Or her. William rolls his eyes.
You've been spending too much time with your sisters. Predators in these cases are almost always men.
You think it's a predator?
Truth be told, I don't think it's just one killer. And that just makes it messy for me, because it means that I can't pare the events down to a single motive like lust or greed or desperation. So maybe you're right, and one of them is running around with a skirt. I just don't think it's as likely, considering the usual fare of the tragic events that I investigate.
He trails off as he glances at the two of us.
So this isn't related to anything we've been talking about. But do I have this right?
He fixes his eyes on Murdoch and jerks his head to me.
Is he working for you now?
It's just part-time. I need the money.
And how exactly did this proposition come to pass? Don't recall seeing any wanted flyers when I passed by. Last time I saw you two together before that night visit to my office was at the Hip. I thought it was strange at first, but now I think I get it.
He smirked.
Mr. Burns, I recall you telling me once that you were above paying for something you could get for free. What changed?
I think he's trying to sound playful, but it sounds more like he's suspicious. Murdoch merely shrugged. He expressed honest interest in honest work. So I put the offer on the table and he took it. Will nods and grunts out a one-note laugh.
Honest work, huh? Your daddy seems convinced that's the case, at least. Let's hope it stays that way.
He walks to the door and puts his paw on the handle, but before he turns it, he spins around.
But if it doesn't, and what I think is going on, then maybe Sam could teach you a thing or two about his profession.
He gives Murdoch a slow look up and down.
I could work off some extra steam. Seems like it could be your forte. If there's anything important for me to know, I'll be in touch.
Then he slipped through the door and shut it softly behind him. Apparently, the whole idea of you gotta hide it and be careful is just like these are like wooden plank walls. Like, they're in shit, like soundproofed in any building in this time. Like, we wait and listen by the door. Was there anything amiss, Sheriff?
Not to my judgment, no.
Thank God.
I'll leave you to that.
I really don't like being around Murdoch's father. Seems like one moment he's shaking your hand, thanking you for blessing the ground you walk on. The next moment it's like you're a soldier being caught behind enemy lines. If I didn't know better, I think that's a difference in his relationships between a customer and an employee. And it just seems like sometimes he genuinely can't tell the difference at any given time. It's completely unpredictable. Murdoch scratched the back of his head. So, Sam? Yes, Murdoch. Was he being a prick, or was he offering to buy me? Probably both. I tilt my head and shrug. Pays well. I don't need money. But it sounds like you're thinking about it. He puts his hands in his pockets. Well, it might be exciting. I smirk at him. It is. He sighs and shakes his head. He'd probably respect me less if I took him up on anything. So let him respect you less. That's weird. That's business. Not really. Because I still respect you more than anybody I know. I whistle. That's so. I expect him to blush or get bashful, but he just nods his head slowly. I think it is. But anyway, we have a lot of work to do today. I saw the film delivery inbox, and I think we should clear it out as fast as possible. Do you really need me in the Red Room? I'd rather just clean, or take stock of the merchandise, or do some heavy lifting. It would help. There's going to be an unbelievable amount of photography work for the parties and the wedding. I agree to help them, but I don't see the point of me being in there. Sometimes something bad happened last time, and it'll probably happen this time too.